Welcome to episode 3 of Whiskey High IQ, the 5 regions of Scotland. Let's jump into Cambeltown. Welcome to Whiskey High IQ. This is Brian Bailie bringing you our new episode inside of the 5 regions of Scotland. We are at Campbeltown. This is Scotland's whiskey hidden gem. With a storied history, distinct taste profiles, and a limited number of distilleries, Campbeltown Scotch brings a unique character to the world of whiskey. Today we'll journey through the history, taste profiles, and key distilleries that make Campbeltown a true legend in the world of whiskey. Our special guest this week is Glen Scotia 15. It is a 15-year-old single malt, so that means it was produced at one distillery and 100% malt whiskey. It is 92 proof. It is matured in bourbon and refill bourbon oak casks to help bring some flavors of vanilla and oak. And of course, you'll get the subtle maritime notes as Scotch is so well known for. Also, the price point is anywhere from $80 to about $100 inside the US for a 750 milliliter bottle. And I think I looked online today at Caskers, it was like $82. Not a entry-level whiskey, but yet a good Scotch nonetheless. So, one of the really cool facts about Glen Scotia is the fact that it is one of the few remaining distilleries in the Campbeltown region, once known as the whiskey capital of the world, which we're going to talk about. This was established in 1832, so this distillery has been around for pretty much 200 years. It has a unique characteristics, and it preserves the heritage that we have come to know and love from Campbeltown Scotch whiskey. So, without further ado, let's dive into the history. Let's learn about some of the other distilleries inside of Campbeltown and enjoy a taste. In the 19th century, Campbeltown was not just a whiskey town, it was the whiskey town. With over 30 distilleries packed into a small coastal region, Campbeltown earned the title of Whiskey Capital of the World. The region's success was largely due to its strategic location, which allowed distillers to export their whiskeys directly to Glasgow and beyond, bringing prosperity to the town and almost legendary reputation for strong, full-flavored scotches. But with success came challenges. To meet rising demand, some distillers began cutting corners, sacrificing quality to increase quantity. Figures like Duncan McCallum, a prominent Campbeltown distiller, and Archibald Mitchell of Glen Scotia Distillery were among those that were pressured to ramp up productions. McCallum, in particular, once celebrated for his ambition, fell victim to the era's demands, blending in immature and poorly distilled whiskey to meet growing export requests. You know this is going to end poorly. As distilleries prioritized speed over quality, Campbeltown whiskey gained a reputation for inconsistency. Some producers even added the dubious ingredients like sugar, caramel, and other flavorings to help mask flaws. By the early 20th centuries, many whiskey distillers were starting to take it in the shorts. Burnside distilleries became infamous for producing whiskey that tasted harsh and lacked the depth that originally set Campbeltown apart. The global market soon reacted. Prohibition in the United States cut off one of Campbeltown's major export destinations, and by then, Campbeltown's whiskey quality had already suffered. As consumers' confidence dropped, whiskey giants in the Speyside and in the Highlands were quick to fill the gap, producing consistent quality Scotch that Campbeltown distillers struggled to match. By the 1920s, only 3 distilleries survived. The Campbeltown era as a whiskey powerhouse had been lost. Many describe Campbeltown whiskey as bold, slightly oily in texture, and unmistakably full-bodied. It's these layered flavors that give Campbeltown whiskeys their complexity, with tasting notes that often include a hint of brine, dried fruit, leather, and smoke. Though Campbeltown once a home of dozens of distilleries, only 3 remain today, and each offering its distinct expression of Campbeltown profile: Glen Scotia, Springbank, and Kilkerran. Glen Scotia, one of the oldest distilleries in Campbeltown, captures the region's maritime influence, known for its briny, slightly medicinal profile with a touch of spice. Glen Scotia whiskeys often carry notes of sea spray, citrus, and a very warming spices. It's a distillery that holds to traditions, letting the spirit speak to the land and the sea that surround it. Springbank is perhaps Campbeltown's most iconic distillery. As one of the few in Scotland to conduct the entire production process on site from malting to bottling, Springbank offers 3 unique whiskies: the light peated Hazelburn, the medium peated Springbank, and the heavily peated Longrow. Each expression brings out Campbeltown's signature qualities in a way that both timeless and innovative. Rounding out the trio is Kilkerran. These whiskeys are often embodied of a lighter, fruitier side of Campbeltown with a hint of peat, offering flavors like citrus, vanilla, and a very subtle smoke. A relatively new addition, Kilkerran is an homage to traditional Campbeltown methods while also providing a fresh take on the region's character. When tasting Campbeltown whiskeys, you'll notice the harmony of salty, smoke, and a bit of a fruity note. Take Glen Scotia, for instance, where a sip brings waves of sea salt and a very spicy warmth. Springbank, on the other hand, is richer, fuller experience, layered with peat, dried fruit, and slightly oily mouthfeel. Kilkerran often introduces a subtle sweetness balanced with citrus and smoke, a gentle yet complex finish. With every Campbeltown whiskey, you're getting a true expression of the region's maritime climate, the care of the distillers, and the history that's as deep as its flavor. Campbeltown may be small, but it carries a weight of tradition and a flavor profile that's larger than life. Its whiskeys are crafted by a few dedicated distillers, each pouring passion and heritage into every bottle. Whether you're a seasoned whiskey enthusiast or a newcomer, Campbeltown's distinct expressions offer something truly remarkable. Raise a glass to Scotland's hidden whiskey capital and discover why Campbeltown remains a cherished name in the world of Scotch. Before we wrap up this, let's dive over to the tasting room and have a quick tasting and ranking of Glen Scotia 15 inside of Poor Decisions. We'll see you over there.
All right there, Gulf Cast Nation. This is Brian Bailie here over here in the tasting side of the studio, and we're going to go ahead and jump into a tasting of Glen Scotia 15-year-old single malt. It is a classic Campbeltown malt. And again, when you see the word single malt, we know that it came from a single distiller, and it's 100% malted barley. Proof 90 or 92, 46% alcohol. Let's dive in here and see how Glen Scotia actually tastes. Here's the funny part. I tried this probably 2 years ago. Not a fan. I mean, I gave it the big burp. Tried it again about a year ago. It was okay. Tried it again about 3 weeks ago. Gotta say, my taste buds are changing when it comes to Scotch. So, without further ado, Glen Scotia 15. Cheers, Sláinte. Let's look at our colors. What do we got here? It is a nice kind of amber hue. So again, a 15-year-old whiskey, so it has been in the barrel quite a long time. Again, reaching something like in the US, maybe 7.5, 8-year barrel. So we're getting that nice amber coating. As we look at our legs, this is a very oily whiskey. You can see the legs, there's a lot to them, and they are running pretty fast, but it's definitely an oily, textury whiskey. So again, that piece is gonna be kind of interesting as well. So let's dive in here and see what it noses. On the nose, what do I get? I definitely get malt, no doubt about it. I'm getting like almost like a figgy kind of smell. I do know this has been aged in oak barrels and ex-bourbon barrels, so we should be able to pull some vanilla notes, but by the nose, I do not. I'm not getting any smoke really from the nose, but I am getting, like I said, a lot of malt and kind of that fig fruit flavor. So interesting. Again, 2 years ago, that is not what I tasted. I need to go back and watch that. Interesting. So again, I do get the malt. It is 100% malt. The malt is definitely there. I do get like almost a fig note, which I'm a fig fan, so I really enjoy that. And then I do get some pepper, so I am getting some baker spice, some peppery to it. And there's just a hint of smoke in the background. But again, 2 years ago, I hated this. 6 months ago, I was, it's pretty good. Again, for me, not the biggest Scotch fan on earth, but overall, I have grown to appreciate this much more than I had in the past. So here's the beauty of whiskey, right? Always circle back, always retry, because as you become better at tasting and pulling out flavor notes, you might actually find out whiskeys that you did not maybe appreciate in the past, you might enjoy in the future. So never give up on them. As you can see in most of my rankings, I never give a 1. Well, I gave 1-1. I don't know if I've released it yet, but I have given 1-1. But other than that, everything is a 2 or better because I always want to circle back and try it again. And wait for the 1 episode. You're going to love that one. I was in a mood. So overall, let's go through the nose here. Nose for a Glen Scotia 15. I would give it a 3. It's got some complexities. There's some layers to it. Again, I'm a fig fan. I do like the smell of malted barley. I do appreciate that. Not super complex, but it's a good nut. It is a good, strong nose. I would say good intensity there. Flavor. Again, I'm getting malt. I'm actually pulling a little bit of vanilla. I'm actually getting a little vanilla note, which is nice. And then, like I said, I get that fig and maybe some baking spices behind it, which, again, I really appreciate. And then just a hint or a wave of smoke somewhere in the background. Overall, though, like I said, to me, it's a very malty, fruity whiskey, which, again, is a kind of known for Scotch. To me, it's not super floral either. A lot of Scotches lose me with the floral notes. There's a little bit of floral behind the scenes, but again, it's not taking center stage. And finish to me is really nice, actually. The finish is really, I'm still getting that kind of softer fig note, but there's definitely some spice jumping around. It's sweet. It's oily in the beginning, so again, it's a viscous whiskey. Dry mouth a little bit at the end, but nothing crazy. I would say intensity, probably a little average. Length, probably medium to medium short, but it's clean. And again, a little bit of complexity there. So I would go nose 3, taste 3, finish 2. So I think this thing's gotten up to about a 2.5 and a 3 for me. So I have to admit it, this is the first whiskey that is kind of scraped out of the 2s and worked their way up, really earning a 3 ranking. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a 3. I do appreciate this. I would buy this again. I would have this at a bar. I would have it near and far. Now, anyways. But again, to me, really good whiskey. I really enjoyed it. Again, this is from Cambeltown. We did a whole series on Cambeltown. If you haven't watched it, make sure you dive into YouTube and go, or in Rumble and find that. So we talk all about Campbeltown, that it was the whiskey hub of the world, and then kind of due to lax quality, quantity over quality, prohibition, Campbeltown went from 30 distilleries down to about 3. So they went from kind of the mecca of the whiskey world because of ports and where they were located. It was really easy to get whiskey out through the world to a part of the country that really doesn't make much whiskey anymore. There are 3. We have Glen Scotia, we have Springbank, and we have Kilkerran. Those are the 3 main distilleries coming out of Campbeltown. So Campbeltown is still there producing whiskey, but not the juggernaut they were in their past. So again, the one thing you know about Glen Scotia is it gives you that tradition, it gives you that rich sense. This has been around since 1832. So we're pushing 200-year-old distillery, and again, a nice, fine 15-year single malt. So again, I will give it a par. I give it a 3. Cheers, Sláinte Mhath, and till I see you again.